URL. Now, if you open up a new tab and paste that URL, you can see this is a very long string. So we don't want to enforce a maximum length of 255 characters. Instead, we want to use 2083 characters. That is the standard maximum length for URLs. So our product class or product model has these 4 attributes. Now to make PyCharm happy and remove this warning, let's put the cursor at the end of this line, press enter, then backspace to remove the indentation. Beautiful. We should also add 2 line breaks before this class. So here's one, press enter, the second line break. Beautiful. So our code is formatted according to PEP 8 standards. Next, I will show you how to use this model to create a database table for storing products. In this Django project we have created, you can see we have this file db.sqlite3. This is an empty database file that Django creates, and we use this to store our data. Now, SQLite is a kind of database, and it's the simplest for small applications, but it's not suitable for large enterprise web applications. So if you want to build a real enterprise web application with Django, you need to use a proper database engine like SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle, Postgres, and so on. The good news is that Django supports all of these database engines, but SQLite is the easiest to get started. So we're going to work with this for now. And in the future, I will show you how to use a proper database engine. Now, for the purpose of this tutorial, I want you to open up your browser and search for DB browser for SQLite. So on this page, sqlitebrowser.org, you can find a very simple and free application for opening SQLite databases. And as you can see here on the right side, there are executables for Windows, Mac, and so on. So when you open it, you get something like this. We can create a new database here on the top or open an existing one. Now here I'm going to drag and drop our database file right here. You can see we don't have any tables in this database. So to store data, first we need to create a table. For example, to store the list of products, we need to create a table called products, and the fields or columns we have in this table should be exactly the same as the attributes we have in our product class. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use Django to automatically create this table. We don't have to do this by hand. We can just tell Django, hey, here's our model. Go ahead and automatically create a database table for storing our products. That is very easy. So here down the bottom, let's open up a new terminal window and run Python on Windows or Python 3 on Mac, manage.py, make migrations. Make sure to spell this properly. So make migrations in one word. Now when you run this, you get this message, no changes detected, because by default, Django doesn't know about our product model. To solve this problem, we need to go back to our project and open the PyShop package. In this package, we have this settings module for storing various configuration settings for our project. So let's open this and scroll down. On line 33, you can see a variable called installed apps set to a list of strings. These are applications or apps that are automatically installed with every Django project. For example, we have this admin app, which gives us a beautiful administrative panel. You're going to work with it soon. You also have this auth app, and we use this to authenticate users. You can put them in different roles, give them different permissions. It's all about authentication and authorization. We'll look at the other installed apps in a future tutorial. So for now, let's register our products app in this list. How do we do that? First, we go to our project. Inside the products app, earlier I told you about the apps module. Take a look here. The name of this module is a little bit misleading because we're in the boundary of one app and we have a module called apps. That aside, all we have here is a class called products config where we store configuration settings for this particular app. Okay? Now we need to go back to our settings module and add the complete path to this class, including its package and module. So this class is defined in the apps module, and this module is inside of the products package. So back to the settings file. In the list of installed apps, we need to type out a string like this. Products, that's our package, dot, apps, that's our module, and then products config. Again, make sure to spell this properly. So P and C are capitalized because here we have a class. but products and apps are all in lowercase, okay? So now Django knows about our products app. So when we go back to the terminal and run the last command, we'll get a different result. So use the up arrow to bring up the last command and enter. There you go. Now we get this message, migrations for products. So inside the products folder, inside the migrations folder, we have a new module with this sequence number called initial. Let's have a quick look at the code inside this module. So back to our products app, let's expand the migrations folder. Here's our initial migration. Let's have a quick look here. So we have a class called migration. And in this class, we have this attribute called operations, which is set to a list of operations. So every migration can contain multiple operations. Look at the first operation we have here, migrations that create model. So with this operation, we can create a new database table called product. And in that table, we're going to have these fields, ID, name, price, stock, and image URL. These are the attributes that we created in our product class. But we didn't have this ID attribute. Django automatically generates this because every database table must have an ID field. And we use this to uniquely identify records in our database. Now, let's go back to the terminal. So we have a new migration, but our database is still in its previous state. We don't have a new table here yet. So we need to run this new migration to generate our product table. And that is very easy. So one more time, Python, manage.py, migrate. When we run this command, Django will look at our project. It will look at every app and it will run the pending migrations for that app against our database. So take a look. When we run this, we get several messages. So if you scroll up, you can see applying content types .001 initial. So in the content types app, which is one of the apps installed by default, we have this migration. So Django ran this migration and this created a database table for this app. Similarly, in the auth app, which is used for authenticating users, we have this initial migration. We also have a bunch of migrations for the admin app. So Django ran all of these migrations, and down the bottom, you can see applying products initial migration. So every app can contain multiple migrations, and each migration will make a slight change to the database to add a new table or modify an existing one. So back to DB browser for SQLite. Let's drag and drop our database file one more time here to reload it. There you go. Now we have 12 tables in this database. Each table is prefixed with the app it belongs to. For example, you can see we have a table for storing our users. We have another table for storing the groups a user belongs to. We have another table for storing permissions and so on. Now here down the bottom, you can see this table, products, underline product. So this product table is prefixed with the name of our app, which is products. Now, if you expand this, you can see these fields in this table, ID, name, price, stock, and image URL. So this is the beauty of Django. We didn't have to come here and manually create these tables by hand. That's very time consuming. We simply created a model with these attributes, and then we ran two commands in the terminal. One for creating a new migration based on the changes we have made in our code, and the other to run the pending migrations. So now all the migrations in this project are run against our database, which means if we go back to the terminal and run python manage.py migrate, we get this new message, no migrations to apply. So here's the workflow. Next time we create a new model or modify an existing one, we should come back here in the terminal, create a new migration, and then run it. All right, here's your exercise. We want to have the concept of offering discounts in our imaginary online shop. So I want you to create a new model class called offer. And in this class, we should have three attributes. One is code, which is a textual field. For example, our offers code could be VCA2142. It's just a coupon code. Here we should also have an attribute called description. Again, this is going to be a textual field. For example, we can say 20% off all products. And then we can display this text somewhere on the homepage in the future. And finally, we need another attribute called discount, which is going to be a floating point number, like 0.2 for 20% discount. So go ahead, create this model class, Next, create a migration and run it to bring our database up to date. This is an awesome exercise for you to get your hands dirty in Django. So spend 3 to 5 minutes on this exercise. When you're done, come back, see my solution. So here in the models module, right after our product class, I'm going to define a new class. Class offer. This class should also derive from the model class in Django. Here we add the attributes. So the first one is code, which is going to be an instance of models.char field. And we set the max length to, let's say, 10 characters. Next, we add the description. Once again, we're going to have a char field with max length of 255 characters is sufficient. And finally, we need discount. And we're going to set this to an instance of models.float field. So here's our offer class. Now we need to create a migration. So over here, I'm going to open up a terminal window. This is the main terminal window where our web server is running. So I'm going to create a new terminal window and run Python manage.py make migrations. Django detected a change in our models, so it created this new migration number 2 called offer. And this migration will create the offer table in our database. So let's go ahead and run it. Python 3 manage.py migrate. Beautiful. Now let's drag and drop our database here one more time. Our database is refreshed. As you can see, in the products app, we have this new table, offer, with these 4 columns: ID, code, description, and discount. In this tutorial, I'm going to talk to you guys about the administrative panel of Django applications. So here in the browser, if we head over to /admin, we get this beautiful login screen to log into our administrative panel. So every Django application by default comes with an administrative panel. We don't have to create this from scratch. We don't have to code this. It gets auto-generated. And this is one of the fantastic features of Django that increases your productivity. So let me show you how to work with this administrative panel. Here in PyCharm, we need to create the first user of this application. We call that super user. So here in the terminal window, let's run Python manage.py create super user, all in one word. So let's go ahead with that. It asks for a username. Let's type admin. Next, we need to enter an email address. I'm going to enter my email address. Next, we need to enter a password. I'm going to type 1234 and repeat it one more time. Note that it complains because this password is too short, it's too common, and it's entirely numeric. So at the end, it asks if you want to bypass password validation. For simplicity, let's go with that. But of course, in a real scenario, you don't want to create an admin user with such a simple password. All right, we successfully created the super user. Now back in the browser, let's log in with admin and 1234. There you go. So this is our administrative panel. As you can see, we can manage the users and groups. We can add new users or modify or delete existing ones. Let's have a quick look here. So here we have this search bar on the top. We can quickly search for users. Below that, we have this table of users with these columns: username, email, first name, last name, and status. We can sort this table by any of these columns. We also have these filters on the right side. So we get all these beautiful features for free with every Django application. We don't have to code this. Earlier in this course, we talked about this settings module. Let's have a quick look here. In this module, we have a setting or a variable called installed apps. And one of the apps that is installed by default is the admin app. So this app is the piece that is responsible for generating these views. Now, the beautiful thing about the admin app is that it is easily extensible. So back to the home page of our administrative panel, so far we can only manage the users and groups. But using one line of code, we can also manage our products. Let me show you.